rasa sangat bertuah kerana diberi peluang untuk memberitahu kepada orang awam cerita saya sendiri, walaupun mungkin tidak sebesar mana cerita orang lain, tapi jika dia membuat satu perubahan yang baik untuk seorang saja di negara kita, saya rasa itu satu peluang yang sangat bertuah lah untuk saya.
Saya rasa adalah platform yang bagus. Jadi pasal kadang-kadang saya selalu buat interview, tapi kadang-kadang kita tak dapat cerita apa yang kita nak dapat ceritakan. Dan projek WhatsApp SPM ni betul-betul dapat menceritakan apakah asas dan inti perjalanan penulis-penulis ni daripada SPM ke lepas SPM.
Masa saya student dulu di Australia, saya nak apply kerja part time, tapi tak laku. Tak dapat, semua orang reject. Dan satu hari tu saya jalan-jalan kat bandar, tengok orang basking lain, saya boleh basking lebih baik daripada dia orang. Saya apply permit, lepas tu I never look back. Bila student saya basking je lah, jadi earn money pun bagus. Sebab sana dia masyarakat view basking ni different.
Kalau awak tak tahu apa nak buat, tak apa. Cuba sebanyak apa yang awak boleh cuba kat sana. Kurang-kurangnya bila cuba pekerjaan part time, awak tahu apa awak tak nak buat. Dalam perjalanan tu bila awak cuba, awak akan jumpa, okey, ni untuk saya.
Ya, semua mereka tadi yang ditemu bual bercerita tentang apa yang terkandung di dalam buku ni. Buku ni ada 101 cerita tentang yang ditulis oleh belia Malaysia dan juga pelajar-pelajar lain juga tentang selepas tingkatan 5 lah. Contohnya macam saya dulu, bila saya habis tingkatan 5, lepas habis PEXA tu, dapat keputusan PEXA tu, kita tak tahu nak buat apa. Masa tu saya nasib baik lah, keputusan saya baik, saya dapat beasiswa pergi belajar di Amerika. Masa tu pun saya tak tahu apa benda sebenarnya saya nak belajar. Ada orang tu kata pilih nak jadi apa, nak buat fizik ke nak buat apa, pergi je lah, jadi pergi Amerika. Jadi ini yang bila saya baca buku ni sebenarnya memberitahu apa yang dialami oleh segelintir ataupun segolongan mereka yang selepas tingkatan 5, ada yang tahu nak buat apa ya, dan dapat menjadi contoh kepada lain yang membaca buku ni, dan ada juga yang masih tidak tahu apa yang mahu dibuat. Ini yang kita nak bincangkan pada hari ini, dapat pertolongan tentang hala tuju selepas SPM melalui buku ini. Dan saya ada 2 orang yang bertanggungjawab tentang menghasilkan ini. Di sebelah kanan saya dia juga pengacara TV, tapi TV dia dalam internet, hebat dia, saudara Roshan Thiran, beliau adalah ketua pegawai eksekutif Leaderonomics ya. Selamat datang. Dan saudara Yoh Chen Chow, lama saya tak jumpa ya. Beliau adalah ahli kumpulan kerja What's After SPM ya. Selamat datang. Lama tak jumpa, kita lama tak bersembang. Saya nak mula dengan idea di belakang ni, sebab saya rasa kalau kita buat inilah, saya rasa social enterprise ni berjaya dalam ni, di mana ramai orang yang masih lagi di luar sana, pada pandangan saya, apabila cakap tentang kerjaya, apa mereka nak buat selepas tu, mereka agak sama-sama. Dan kadang-kadang dalam dan apa yang saya dapati dari buku ini ialah rakan-rakan sebaya itu sebenarnya dapat membantu dan kita belajar daripada pengalaman orang lain. Mungkin itu
and I think I think the biggest problem many of us face is a problem of knowledge. Walaupun ada internet, the problem is terlalu banyak information. It's not organized in a very systematic fashion. What this book does is actually looks and says, hey, there's 101 different choices. Now, no choice is right or wrong. It doesn't matter what your choice is. It's the journey of getting to that choice. And when we're given opportunity to look and say, hey, look, there's 101 different ways to be successful, to find your passion, it just opens our eyes to different perspectives. And I think what we were trying to do is trying to tell kids, hey, it's okay. It's good to try things. It's good to fail. It's good to experiment. But hey, why don't you read through the lives of other people? Because I love books because books actually gives us a perspective of somebody else. So all the mistakes, all the struggles, all the things that other people went through, it gets transmitted back. And when you read it, you're actually living their lives. And that's what we were trying to do in some way or form, like with this book.
Yes, Yoh Chen Chow. One thing interesting, about your life is interesting too, because you once wrote that you had problems with your English and all that, and there's an intensive English course that you had to go through. Now that itself is an eye-opener to many people. Hey, there are so many people out there just like me, and this is the way to move on. Now, do you think that the youngsters out there have enough? Well, during my time, my role models were old people, and they went through a different cycle in their own lives. So at that time, I didn't have peers. So it's that age group, and I think it helps to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think like one of the things, like let's say in terms of English, is like a lot of people, whether it's in a Sekolah Kebangsaan or SMJK or SJK, a lot of people in the school is like, some people know that English is very important, they try to practice, and once they try to practice on speaking English, their friends say, oh, this guy try to show off, oh sekarang ni dah nak cakap orang putih semua. So they became like, so it no longer becomes like speaking English is a fashion thing. So people had to try to struggle, and I think that one of the things that I try to hope that through the story is to hope that people will be willing to go out there and try, practice, because eventually if we never try, we will never improve. If we try, hopefully we can improve a bit.
Tapi saya rasa juga tentang orang kata kepimpinan pemikiran, you are an opinion leader, you are a leader in whatever group segment that you are. Saya rasa itu yang mahu diketengahkan secara tidak menonjol, tapi itu sebenarnya idea di belakang, bukan begitu saja.
And I give you a perspective of my own life. When I was young, my coach, I played football, and my first coach was this guy called Mokhtar Dari, and Mokhtar Dari played a big influence in my life because he taught me the importance of hard work, the importance of pushing, always improving, always changing the game. And I've taken that advice and I've always lived my life like that. And now, as my story is in there, and when I look back at my life and I say, hey, why was I successful in university? Why was I successful after that when I went to General Electric and so on and so forth? And I said a lot of it had to do with this formative years of Mokhtar Dari, my headmaster, my parents. I mean, all these things enable me to become who I am. And some of these things, when we transmit this in stories, straight away you can take that story and you can, hey, I've learned something from this, and I can now apply it almost directly. You don't have to be trained by Mokhtar to know that lesson and or to live that out. You see,
right? But that's indirectly, because when I read your story, it's when you arrived in Connecticut, where that professor asked you what exactly do you want to say, and you say do this thing, and you have basically no idea what you wanted to do.
And I think that's it took me 13 or 14 years to figure out what my passion was, and I think many of us struggle, but as I look back, I'm glad it took me that long, because along the way I've learned so many important lessons that make me a better person.
Yeah, but you're different in the sense that well, you have this, I would say, template infrastructure already without you realizing it. But there are people out there who actually really need guidance and help.
True,
so I think I guess this book actually
brings that.
I believe you guys did a great job in this one. So do you think we have enough people to guide us through? Because after this, we're going to ask two other gentlemen because now the passion for science and mathematics and is lukewarm and all that. Do you think we have enough people guiding others to have a great career, a great job? Because some people like Roshan, fine, he's good.
I think like there are a group of people, and I think one of the things that we hope to do through this book is to get more people out there, because like a lot of people after leaving high school, after people leaving SPM, they forgot about their roots. A lot of people is like, you go to university, now you have left your kampung, you have left your places, then you go study, and after you go to work, maybe a lot of disconnection from high school. One of the things that we hope that through this book, this could be something that someone can say, bring back to the high school, visit their teachers, look back at your kampung, the schools, and see this is something that you can reconnect back to school. And through that, besides getting this book into the school library, let's say donating back the school counselling room or resource room, but people can go back there and give ceramah to the students.
That's one thing I really, really like. I've never liked a book like this book, because when I read it, it's because we always say that I want to give back to the society. That's after like you're almost retired or you have nothing better to do. But these are young people. You teach them very early to give back.
Exactly. And that's my company, Leaderonomics. The essence is we're not just a business, we are a social business with a social, and I think in the future business is going to be run like that. But you're right. I mean, this book is going to it's young people inspiring young people, but it's also more than that. It's now these young people that inspire. We want them to take the next step, which is now also go to your schools and continue to tell stories, continue to tell about your lives, because these guys can see. Because one of the reasons why I set this company was many years ago. I used to do camps in Sabah and Sarawak, and when it was not about the camp. It was 10 years after the camp when I start to see these kids who went through what we did, and we build relationships, and we bring them into our company or different places. Not them, but their sister, their brother, and so on. They look up to them and say, "Oh, my sister made it. She's with Johnson & Johnson. She's with this." It starts to give them hope. And this cyclical thing, if somebody helps somebody to help somebody, will start to, this whole pass it forward thing will start to change society and transform our nation in some way or form. And this is a small step, but it's going to be little steps that enable us to ultimately have major things come about.
Yeah, because when I looked at during a press conference and all that, your approach is very multiracial. And I think without you having to, do the extra thing, for example, we always have this quota, or you have like do orang Melayu, satu Cina,
Right.
So this comes very natural. So which I think is really, really good. And we have to take a short break. When we come back, let's talk about what's after SPM book, because that's important. We take a short break. We'll be back right after these messages.
Sofner Daya dengan formula baru. Pakaian lembut dipakai. Kami cinta Sofner Daya.
Aku setuju buat apa yang Tuan Agus amanahkan ke aku. Kau nak harta tu? Aku buat sebab ibu, sebab Tuan Agus, bukan sebab engkau.
I nak hapuskan semua ancaman I. Tak ada siapa boleh halang I dengan apa yang I nak.
Aku cuma tumpang kasih je, Syah. Kau tetap anak Tuan Agus, bukan aku.
Cinta yang ikhlas tak ada terasa tumpang putih. Tapi kalau kita sayang orang tu, kita mesti nak berubah.
Saksikan Wasiat Rabu hanya di Astro Prima. Karya Malaysia mempersembahkan Nostalgia Citra.
Kami nak kahwin. Geramnya aku. Mana badan?
Sayang, Scoop, Janda Meletup, Pemburu Bayang. Sabtu 9 malam hanya di Astro Citra dalam pakej Mustika.
Telefon untuk melanggan. Sila ke saluran 130 untuk pratonton Mustika.
Friday, tune into Gadget Nation for the latest in technology. Preview and review of some of the latest gadgets and video games. Interview with tech enthusiasts and experts. If you love gadgets like we do, join hosts Adam Carruthers and Avery Score at Gadget Nation every Friday, 9:30 p.m. exclusively on Astro Awani.
Baiklah, kita teruskan perbincangan kita. Satu benda menarik dalam ni, ini saya nak tanya saudara Chen Chow tentang ni. Kadang-kadang kita ni tidak nampak peluang-peluang dalam bidang-bidang lain kerana kalau masa kecil itu nak jadi doktor ke lawyer ke accountant ke kan. Kemudian dalam ni ada banyak lagi cara-cara lain untuk orang kata dalam kehidupan kita untuk dapat pekerjaan yang jadi sejauh manakah ini membantu pelajar-pelajar muda untuk orang kata berfikir pada usia yang lebih muda. Sometimes we don't need to wait until you're Form 5. You can actually plan when you're in Form 1, because when you plan early, it's easier. You don't have to make the same mistake that Suhaimi did.
I think like a lot of people like back then, like primary school, secondary school, the teachers would ask us to fill up what's cita-cita. A lot of people would put doctor, accountant, lawyer. So I think like what we want to extend is because today a lot of parents, everything, all have this traditional form of career. So what we hope is through this is like people can try to think of different, and here is 101 examples. And what we hope is this would inspire people to think. People will reflect and see, oh, maybe is this my passion? Is this something that I'm interested in? Because eventually it's not about how much money you can make. It's really about what are the things that you really feel passionate about. What are the things that you enjoy Monday morning, say, yes, I want to wake up Monday morning. Instead of like looking forward for Friday and say, now it's my weekend.
Yeah, and one thing good about here is, we as a country would want innovation, creativity, and lots of
and I think,
here.
I think you take this one step further. I mean, think about the ETP.
Exactly.
The 10 different industries that are out there.
Yeah.
I mean, how many parents actually know that a geologist earns as much as a doctor, for example? Because that's a very high skilled position. But in the oil and gas industry, which is one of the ETP, we need geologists, we need experts in oil and gas. But I think so. One of the things we're trying to showcase is actually there are, and if you're the best in anything, even if you're best actor, you're best TV host, you are, the compensation will come. But people don't realize that. They always say, these are low-end stuff, these are high-end stuff. So I think having awareness that, hey, there's 101 happy people who found their passion somewhere.
And they're young.
Somewhere,
Because when you're old, sometimes you're not relevant.
Exactly.
If I were to write this, this is 50-year-old man.
I was oldest here, I think, right?
So what's next after this then?
Yeah.
Because when you talk about leadership, it's basically the younger ones actually leading the younger ones, which I think is very refreshing. So what's next after this?
I think, Chen Chao, maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the things that we can, in terms of that, and then maybe I'll talk a little bit about something else.
I think one of the things that we have already started to do is through this book, because this is a purely royalty-free book. That means none of the authors or contributors actually earning a cent of royalty. So through this is what we hope is to get the corporate Malaysia, or actually even individuals, to basically step up and take this as an opportunity. For instance, we want to do our Tanggungjawab Social, CSR. So instead of saying we give 500 ringgit to a school or something, a better gift could be giving a bunch of books that will actually fill up. And I think one of our dreams is to see every single library in Malaysia, even every single resource room, counseling room, that would have a book that will guide people, because I think this is one of the best resources. And I think that some of the foundations or society have already started, let's say Jeffrey Chia Foundation, Project Kausum, Teach for Malaysia. A few of them have stepped forward to get this book donation, and we have actually individual. There's one guy, Wai Hong, he just step forward and said he would like to get 100 books of this, and he's donating through Leaderonomics to 25 Khazanah Trust schools. So this is an action of one young Malaysians. And imagine that if many Malaysians take that step forward, the effect will be tremendous.
This is because people always ask, what's a good example of a social enterprise? Taking this problem in a nation and solve this problem in a different way. I think this is what
and I think it's also, our goal is to reach to as many people as possible. So, in some sense, we need to have this book in Malay, and we need to have this in Mandarin, and some other languages. And so I think when you talk about what's next, I think really it's about taking this into different levels. Also, probably getting more stories. And our goal is to actually have a website where we'll have more and more stories, so people can actually access it for free and learn about this. But when you talk about social enterprise, I think here's a key. Many people think social enterprise is an NGO.
Exactly.
We see, and that's why we wanted to set up a social enterprise. Is NGOs going back for money?
Right.
A social enterprise.
You must be sustainable.
Yes, you must be sustainable. So the first thing is, how do we build a business that's what we did. Is we do training, we do development, but at the same time, my goal was to ensure everybody has access to leadership development. So how can I give free things to the kids, to youth, via TV, my show, but at the same time be able to sustain 25 employees, 30 employees as we continue to grow, and that's the thought process. So my real motive is to grow, is to get leadership development to the masses, to make sure everybody has access to leadership. But to sustain myself, I have to have a business. Whereas many businesses think profit first and then the social impact. And I think longer term companies will change, because I think people will think, if I bring social benefit, then I'll actually have a sustainable business. Because if people see social benefit, then business will start to come around. And I think in the next 15, 20 years, I personally believe many companies will start to evolve into social enterprises.
Was it difficult when you started? And because others would want to know, if they were to start, what would be, the difficulties that they would face, and how do they, seek help?
I think the biggest difficulty is just like a business. You have to have a solid business plan. And many of them, they think through. They like the NGO part, but they need to have business acumen to actually build a business. And my struggle, I'm in year 3 now. We're still building a business, but we don't forget our core is really to touch lives, is to transform the nation through leadership development.
This is your third year.
It's only my third year, but we've evolved into
but your side, like in Leaderonomics, it's like you have been
around for 20 years, right? Of course. But that's business, right? I mean, you have to have a solid. And my customers come to me not because they feel, oh, it's a charity, I want to help you, but because our products are good and our service is good. Now, but at the end of the day, everything I do is backed and is ultimately goes back to the community. So it becomes this model that works. But I think businesses who want to be social enterprise, they struggle because they think either social or they think enterprise.
It shouldn't be a zero-sum game.
It has to be a combination game. And you have to have business, because at the end of it, 99% of businesses fail. Same thing, 99% of social enterprise will fail. 99% of internet business will fail, because it boils down to that. You have a purpose and you build a core around that.
How do you get people to have this same passion like what both of you are doing? If I were to touch you, okay, well, the things will be passed on. The magic touch.
I think like one of the things that like I personally enjoy doing is like I have a opportunity that I went to a few MRSM. I like to go to like rural places, Kuala Perlis, with the Terengganu and etc. Like go to speak to students, and I think one of the things to see is how can you make the students that one day, let's say I go to the MRSM and speak to a bunch of students, how many of those students that next year, 2 years later, they will be the one that come on stage and share with their fellow students, so that people will pay for and people will create that loop. So or else it's like, if you speak one time, you get 50 students. But if 5 of them come out and share another 5 more platforms, and that will actually be a way to ripple it. So I think that's one of the ways that we really hope. Let's say, for instance, this book. The idea came from a few 18, 19 years old students who are currently studying in the US. And a few of them at that time felt that, okay, we want to produce a book to this inspiration, and then a few of us just decided to go out there and try to, don't know how to do it, but we want to do something. And then we found Roshan, and he helped us a lot in framing out this up, and eventually right now we can see a book came through.
And the best thing is, like, when you read this book, oh my God, I'm so normal. Because oh, I'm a failure. What am I supposed to do?
We all are the same.
And it's a good guide for people. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And I would say, Tanya, this is a good job that you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
No thank you for being us.
Kalau nak tengok Roshan beraksi sehebat, pergi ke Leaderonomics TV.
Leaderonomics.com.
.com/TV. Yes, okay. Terima kasih banyak.
Yes.
Can I share a little bit, like, for those who are interested to basically donate this book, anything, you can email us at whatsafterspm, WHATS after spm@gmail.com. So from there we can work out together so that we can make this impact even bigger to the nation.
Thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak. Kita berhenti rehat. Selepas ni ada kena-mengena juga dengan topik yang kita nak bincangkan ini. Ia juga memberi inspirasi kepada mereka ni, untuk orang kata biarkan mereka lebih teruja untuk belajar sains, mathematics, engineering dan sebagainya. Kita berhenti rehat, akan kembali selepas ni.